I'm joined now by Sourabh Gupta. He's a resident senior fellow and an Asia-Pacific International Relations Policy Specialist at the Institute for China-America Studies. Always great to see you.
Hey, Elaine.
Well, we just saw, China's Commerce Minister meeting with Catherine Tai, the U.S. Trade Representative, earlier today, and again, just the day before, meeting with the Commerce Secretary here in Washington. As we heard, a lot of complaints, not a lot of movement, but do you think this is a good start in getting on the right track with China-U.S. trade issues, of which there are many?
Yes, a good start, but I would say a very small and incremental start, and this might not really signify too much, and we shouldn't look at this in terms of something long-lasting. It could be long-lasting if the two parties can begin to trust each other, but the problem at this point of time is not just what each other's sides asks are, but the entire question about what their intentions are behind making those asks. And I think at this time, the level of trust is so low, even on the trade and economic discussions, that yes, this is hopeful, yes, this is useful, but we shouldn't be paying too much emphasis or placing too much faith in this conversation.
Now, we are seeing some of the first face-to-face meetings in the last few years here. We have this Apec ministers meeting in Detroit. There will be some other opportunities in the coming months. Do you think those could potentially pave the way for a possible Xi-Biden face-to-face at the Apec summit, which the U.S. is hosting in California this November?
Yes, I think so, and I think that is the game plan. The plan being that, yes, if the two sides can really transact business and resolve problems, then great. But even if they cannot do so, to at least get the conversation going forward so that you can set the ground up for the two presidents to meet again, because just a presidential meeting itself is a stabilizing proposition. And I think that's part of where they're leading towards. But I still think there's a lot of ground to cover, and they've not even scratched the surface in terms of the differences that they have. And we'll have to see where this goes.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say business is business. What about the timeliness of the new Chinese ambassador to the U.S. arriving here just a few days ago? Want to get your thoughts on how that affects this relationship.
It does affect the relationship in a good way, because there is a very senior presence out here who's reaching out and trying to build his contacts out here. So from that perspective, it's obviously very, very useful. I hope that on both sides, the ambassadors will be given a lot of opportunities to contact for contact and doing the communications with important people, because that has been a problem wherein previously, say last year or before that, the ambassadors were in town and not doing much communication in any case. So I hope that part is over. This is a good sign with all the other signs that we have seen, but they really need to start solving problems, and solving problems means like not on the sidelines of meetings. They need to actually go to each other's capitals and try to really transact business, hopefully on the trade and economic side, and maybe down the line, perhaps thereafter on the defense side, on the defense policy side. But we just have to see whether it really translates into action or not.
And about 45 seconds to about a minute left. Just want to get your thoughts on all of that, seeing as already inside the United States, so a lot is being made about the next election cycle, which is upon us. I mean, how does that play a part in the continuity of what the Biden administration is trying to accomplish and get some traction with the Chinese government?
Yeah, that's an important point, important question, because I think, in my view, one of the reasons the Biden administration has initiated this process is because it wants to stabilize the relationship with an eye to the 2024 election, where the China narrative does not get hijacked by the Republicans. So Biden cannot be too soft, but he cannot be too tough, but he wants it to be stable so that China is not more than an issue than it needs to be in 2024. Because if he loses control of the narrative, the Republicans are going to benefit. And I think that's part of the reason the administration has gone forward and sought to really lock down this relationship onto a more stable track.
Sourabh Gupta, always great to get your take. Thank you for joining us.